Hi, Caitlyn. Okay, let's go and take a look. So I was going through your writing here, and I want to address a few things here. This is more I think it's a good job of conveying the message of the promotion. I went with the rainbow writing to give it a little call to action for the text. I'll talk about that in 1 second. I think the logo could be a little bigger and maybe move to the bottom left of the banner. But see, I don't understand that comment because it is at the lower left. So I'm not real sure. Maybe that you had referred to a previous uh, uh, version. I'm not sure, but yeah, that was a little unclear. I want to talk about that logo too. So, I think another thing that would be good instead of having this background image, instead put a masked image of a couple. Absolutely, absolutely. Because right now the only problem with this ad is we don't have well, we don't have the masked image from assignment 2-1, which is a requirement. So, I agree with what you're saying there. Background just I think would be would leave more room for the text and logo and just be put better. To address that a little bit, one of the issues here is I think this image is perfectly suited, but the problem is that the focal point is dead center, and that does something unusual with a composition this small. It severs it right in two. We've got a definite left side and a right side. So that is problematic in terms of composition. So I understand what you're saying. There are solutions definitely that you can use in without choosing a different image and kind of reformatting this, and that is that crop technique. And if you review those videos, you'll see how the video is how to create your banner ad from your magazine ad, and that shows you how to crop a section of the magazine ad background image to 1280 by 300 pixels at 150 ppi, right? So what you can do is you can take the crop and move around the magazine ad to try to find it. So for instance, I'm not sure how much room is on the left or the right side of this particular image, but theoretically you could crop it like this and include more of the right hand side of the image, and that would open the area, open up the right side of the composition for the additional placement or more expeditious placement of text without feeling confined into a pre-designated area, so to speak. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Conversely, if there's more room on this side, the left side of the composition, you could crop it so that the girls are over on the right, opening up this side. Then you can just deal with placement from there. Okay, but I just wanted to address that because you had brought it up, which sounds like something a little bit of a concern. So I just want to make sure that you understand those cropping does allow for some leeway based on the original image. Okay, let's go ahead and jump over to the banner. I think the banner's super attractive, in part because the background image is great. That's a great image. It really is. I mean, those are two happy, happy, happy girls right there. Absolutely. So this just really, really exudes a positive tone and a really positive posture. And I think that's fantastic. Okay, so as far as what do we have here? So the first thing I notice is that the logo, I think the logo is too big, to be honest with you. I think the logo is too big. It's also been distorted. Let me go ahead and jump over to the PDF. That's the logo. And when we take a look and compare this logo to this logo, we can see this one is kind of condensed, short and fat, right? But then I'm talking about looking at this as compared to this long and thin, this is kind of short and wide, right? So that tells me that the logo has been distorted upon placement, or more accurately, the logo was probably resized once you placed it. When you resize the logo, as you know, you select the logo, grab the corner with your mouse and stretch the bounding box, but hold your shift key down. I'm not real sure what version of Photoshop you're using, but you definitely want to hold that shift key down, and that's going to constrain the original proportions or the original aspect ratio of the logo. Okay, so you're going to be allowed, it will allow you to resize it while constraining or maintaining the original height and width proportions. Okay, so you'll avoid any kind of distortions therein. Okay, this right here, relaxation at its finest. I think this is interesting that you kind of use this capital R that's kind of bolded. It seems like it's a lot bigger than it should be. So, at which I don't mean that it should be, then it would be by default. So I thought that was an interesting typographic technique. One of the problems I'm seeing is the type is just jammed right up to the edge of the, no breathing room at all there. And the viewer will sense that, and it will cause some uncomfortable visual tension. For that reason, I recommend establishing a nice right margin, a little bit of space between the text and the edge of the That I think probably one of the reasons for that is because you wanted to maintain the size of the text, but didn't really want to encroach much more on what's happening right here. So what you can do is you still have room to move this over since this is right aligned. You can move this over, start the R right here, and still have enough room to establish an ample right margin. Fun for the whole family isn't quite in alignment right here. You want, if you're going to right align, make sure that's right aligned. And just come in here and let's get that right aligned right there. Then at that point, I think the promotional call to action is really difficult to read. Conceptually, you're spot on there with the rainbow fill, but it makes it pretty difficult to read. For that reason, I don't recommend using the rainbow fill. I would use just the purple. Now, one of the things that you can do here is since this is, you've got this right aligned, right? But what we could do is we can take this 15% off, and also you know what? Now that I look at it, I think I would reduce the size of this a little bit. This will make sense in 1 second. But you reduce the size of this whole configuration right here. Watch my cursor. So it's something like this, okay? That way, what you can do is this: is you say relaxation at its finest. And then fun for the whole family. That's right aligned. Then you can take this this type here and reduce the size a little bit, and also reduce the space between. I think this is too prominent, and this is a call to action. This is going to be your focal point, regardless. No, it doesn't matter what you put here. This is going to be your focal point. So we have this natural transition to go from the focal point to here, and then I am a little worried that we go from the focal point right to the call to action. And the reason I say that is because the type here is very large. Think of a newspaper in hierarchy, typographic hierarchy. Headline's the biggest, then the subhead, and then the body copy. So let's reduce the size of this a little bit to follow that logic in visual hierarchy. Try a couple things with alignment, okay? You can try to take this paragraph, this text right here, reduce it and align it to F. Don't center it though, left align it and just align it right there so it's left aligned. You can also bring it over, right align it, so it's flush left, flush right, rag left, and then align it with the right margin. That might be a really, really interesting. I think that's going to be your answer right there. And then just present that in purple. Okay, and then finally, the only other thing we're missing is the location. It's really important to put the location in, because that theoretically could be the difference between someone clicking this ad and someone skipping this ad. Being that St. Thomas is such an exotic location, it would behoove the branding attempts, strategies of the ad, if you were to include not the whole contact information, just the location. So, you know, even right down here again, left, right align, when you do that, is just located in beautiful U.S. Virgin Islands or something like that. All right, great start, good job. If you have any questions at all, I'd like to see these changes reflected in. Oh, and don't forget, you've got to include a masked image in here. It's that important. Go ahead and address these comments. Make sure that you've got a high degree of harmony and consistency between the magazine ad and the banner ad. And don't forget, this is due this week, week 7. Our final campaign is due. So go ahead and make these changes. Now, if you want to make these changes and repost to this forum, I'll see it and I'll make comments. Even though we're in week 7, this is a week 6 forum. I'll still see it, and I'll be glad to make any additional comments. So whatever changes you want to make, I'll be glad to comment on those changes. Okay, great fade, by the way. Really nice timing there. All right, good job, great start. Any questions at all, please let me know. Thank you very much.